If someone wants to watch the event, then I'll just send. Should I send them the Zoom link, or is there going to be some other YouTube live link or something?
Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself now. Please mute yourself.
Everyone, please, students, the link will be shared soon. Okay. As soon as the instruction will be given by the IT team, and will.
No voice is coming. Please check once. No voice is there. Reshare again. One minute, beta. Wait. Pooja ma'am, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm there.
Please, I will send you one video. Please play from your side. You are sitting on laptop?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I will send you one video. Please play that because sound.
Okay. Hello.
Please check, ma'am, your WhatsApp.
Yes, sir, I received. Yeah, playing.
Please play that one.
So, can we start, sir? Are we live?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay.
A very good evening and a gracious welcome to all the eminent guests for today's intriguing and informative event.
Prisha,
Beta, wait 1 minute. Let her play one video, then you
wait.
can speak.
Okay.
The ocean is home to Earth's largest ecosystems. This marine realm supports our communities, our economies, our environment, and all life on this planet. Despite the critical services our oceans provide, marine species and the world they live in are under threat from overfishing, pollution, habitat loss, and climate change. The time to act is now. The United Nations and partners are already moving forward. Nature-based solutions and innovative technologies are helping the oceans rebound. Governments, companies, and individuals are transitioning away from unsustainable practices. Join us to save life below water for people and planet. La 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 la. 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 La 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 la. La 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 li, la la la. La 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 li, la la la. La 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 li, la la la. La 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 la. La 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 li, la la la. La 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 li, la la la. La 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 li, la la la. La 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 la.
Now you can proceed, beta.
Prisha, over to you. A very good evening, everyone.
Shall I start, ma'am?
Yes, start, please.
Okay. A very good evening and a gracious welcome to all the eminent guests for today's intriguing and informative event. We are fortunate to have educators, teachers, and entrepreneurs from all across the globe. Once again, I heartily welcome each one of you on behalf of the IDYM Foundation. I welcome the founder and director, Dr. Ravi Shankar, a man of vision who believes that space is a drawing board where a child can make anything with his or her imagination and can explore indefinitely. He is passionately motivated to take the foundation ahead on the journey of self reliant India, Atma Nirbhar Bharat, with educating and helping students to build their own space projects. Igniting dreams of young minds provides a platform to all school and college students to dream and explore about space and satellites. It is an initiative to help them build and develop their own satellites with hands on experiments. IDYM is on a mission to empower and encourage the young minds to unmask their talent potential, starting with the first step, which is to dream. IDYM has successfully organized 200 workshops in the last 1 month, covering all the 29 states of India, along with many international workshops in more than 10 countries. It is with great pleasure that I welcome our incredible and capable young minds, our five speakers for today's Sustainable Development Goals talk show, where they will share their ideas and solutions regarding Sustainable Development Goal 14, Life Below Water. Sustainable Development Goal 14 is one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals established by the United States Nations in 2015. Its main goal is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Our first two speakers are Avneet Kaur and Tanvi Shah. Avneet is an individual with a perspicacious and perceptive spirit. She likes to focus her energy on reading, acquiring knowledge on history, and finding the meaning behind the lyrics of songs. Tanvi is an exuberantly curious soul who loves to travel. She likes to read books, sketch, paint, and spend her time around nature. I would like to invite them to start off the event with a presentation on oceans and seas. Avneet will be introducing the topic. Over to you, Avneet.
Thank you for the floor, Prisha. I would also like to thank our principal, Dr. Preeti Shrimal, for being here. And I want to thank IDYM India for this gracious opportunity. I would also like to thank the entrepreneurial Pooja Miss for training us. SDG 14, Life Below Water. The oceans hold 97% of the world's water. Oceans help to alleviate poverty by providing long-term livelihoods and decent work. The livelihoods of almost 3 billion people are reliant on marine and coastal resources. They also serve as a main climate regulator, a significant sink for greenhouse emissions, and a source of water and oxygen for humans. Finally, oceans are tremendous biodiversity repositories. Under the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, The outcome document of the United Nations Summit for the approval of the post 2015 development agenda issues linked to oceans and seas are addressed in the 10 targets under SDG 14, as well as many other related SDGs. Ecosystem integrity, as well as correctly functioning biochemical and physical processes, are essential for oceans and seas and marine resources to sustainably contribute to human well being. Ecosystem integrity enables the provision of so called sustaining ecosystem services, which are foundations of critical regulating, provisioning, and cultural ecosystem services for humans. While all people benefit from marine resources, the poor, the indigenous, and the vulnerable groups who rely heavily on natural resources and ecosystem services may be especially dependent on these advantages. If the oceans have provided us with so much, then why are we destroying them? Oceans, seas, and marine resources have a two-way relationship with human well being. While an increase in human well being frequently comes at the expense of ecosystem integrity, a more sustainable use of resources, changes in production and consumption patterns, and improved management and control of human activities all have the potential to reduce negative anthropogenic impacts on the marine environment. However, effective governance and an enabling environment are essential for this to occur. Anthony Douglas Williams had said, "We destroy life and we pollute the oceans and the skies, yet we have the audacity to call ourselves superior beings. Truer words have never been uttered, for we never turn to inspect the damage that we have done." Threats to marine life. This list can be termed as an incessant jumble of words, but if we had to narrow it down, we can put forward three main threats: habitat loss, pollution, and the extensive lack of knowledge. Habitat loss is one of the leading causes for multiple marine species endangerment. The way we disturb ecosystems and ravage the homes of aquatic animals is barbarous. Pollution is a major issue that impacts all spheres of life. It is the stumbling block that represents our mistakes. It is a hurdle on the path to a sustainable environment. When it comes to the marine world, there are numerous ways pollution demolishes the quality of water and marine life. Furthermore, lack of awareness is the root cause of most predicaments, may it be socio-political or environmental. This leads to the establishment of pernicious conditions in the marine world. Habitat loss. Robert Greene had been the embodiment of erudite when he had said, "An ecosystem that has the maximum amount of diversity is the richest. Loss of habitat is the disruption of naturally occurring ecosystems, which leads to decrease in variety of species and a drop in the biomass abundance." The instance of whales is the perfect example in this case. The whales are an endangered species today, as most of us must know, and their almost extinction has also been caused by us humans who have invaded their homes and infiltrated their very existence. The whale population had been copious before the 1800s. It had been during the 1800s that the whaling boom had occurred. There had been an increase in the market value of whale products like their oil and meat. This led to an increase in their hunting. Led to the dismantling of their ecosystem, which led to a significant decline in the population of whales. The population had originally been 2 to 3 lakhs. However, by the year 1970, the whale population had diminished to a meager 600. This began several campaigns to initiate a ban on whaling. Campaigns like the Greenpeace campaign were launched. When we look at present times, let's consider the year 2020, we observe how the anti-whaling campaigns have persevered and led to the passing of multiple laws to control whaling. This is why the population has now seen the high of 2,500. Now, Tanvi, my co-mate, will elucidate more precedents.
Thank you, Avneet. Well, whales aren't the only ones who fall into this category. Many additional aquatic creatures and plants have become endangered as a result of habitat loss. Corals and dugongs, for example. Destructive fishing methods such as cyanide, the use of cyanide and dynamite destroy coral ecosystems and deplete the world's coral biodiversity. Seagrass habitat loss or degradation is a concern to dugongs due to the coastal development or industrial operations that pollute the water. The dugong do not breed normally if there is not enough seagrass to consume. As a result, the preservation of their shallow water marine environment is critical. Bycatch or advertisement interment in fishing nets is another common occurrence.
When we move on to the topic of pollution, the extent of discussion is ceaseless. The principal issues are ocean acidification, industrial waste, radioactive waste, and plastic waste. Ocean acidification is the ongoing decrease in the pH value of the Earth's oceans caused by the uptake of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In simple words, the water becomes more acidic. When carbon dioxide is absorbed by seawater, chemical reactions occur that reduce seawater pH, carbonate ion concentration, and saturation states of biologically important calcium carbonate minerals. Industrial waste is either chemical waste released into water bodies or oil spills caused by the oil effluent from accidental leaks. Chemical waste disrupts the composition of water, especially with acids. Oil spills, on the other hand, create a barrier between the atmosphere and the ocean, which hinders certain processes like respiration. Furthermore, the oil spill harms all species distinctly. Fur bearing mammals such as otters get swathed in this oil and can't escape the ill health effects of it. Along with this, we have turtles that mistake it for food. Dolphins and whales are capable of inhaling this oil, which results in detrimental impacts on their immune system, lungs, and reproduction. When exposed to oil, adult fish may experience reduced growth, enlarged livers, changes in heart and respiration rates, fin erosion, and reproduction impairment. Fish eggs and larvae can also be especially sensitive to lethal and sublethal impacts. Even when lethal impacts are not observed, oil can make fish and shellfish unsafe for humans to eat. Radioactive waste is released by nuclear power plants if they have a leak. However, sometimes it is there due to improper disposal of radioactive waste. Radioactive waste from spent fuel rods predominantly comprises of cesium-137 and strontium-90, but it may also include plutonium, which can be considered as transuranic waste, as in having an atomic number greater than uranium. The half-lives of these radioactive elements can differ quite extremely. In the end, we move on to plastic waste. Although it is the most common type, it has the potential of producing the most unfortunate consequences. It's non biodegradable, as we all know, and tends to be fed upon by aquatic life. According to National Geographic, about 8 million tons of plastic escapes into oceans. Nearly 700 species, including endangered ones, are known to have been affected by plastics. Nearly every species of seabird eats plastic. Most of the deaths of animals are caused by entanglement or starvation. Seals, whales, turtles, and other marine animals get strangled by abandoned fishing gear. Now, here is what happens when plastic reaches the ocean. When plastic reaches the seas, it breaks down into a size less than 1/5 of an inch across. This is microplastic. Microplastics have been found in more than 100 aquatic species, including fish, shrimp, and mussels, which are destined for our dinner plates. In many cases, these tiny bits pass through the digestive system and are expelled without consequence. But plastics have also been found to have blocked digestive tracts or pierced organs, causing death. Sometimes fish stomachs get so packed with plastic that it reduces the urge to eat and causes starvation. From all these points, one can infer how adverse the repercussions of pollution are. Ocean acidification, as I aforementioned, is a grave issue. To counter it, there are 4 undertakings that are possible. Reducing our carbon footprint. Carbon emissions are mostly effused into the atmosphere by burning fossil fuels, ranging from coal to run factories to the LPG we use in our house. Reducing their use will result in a drop in the levels of ocean acidification. To do so, we must employ the use of alternate forms of energy. Solar power, hydropower, tidal power, and wind power are forms of energy that meet our daily requirements, but also give out either minimal or no pollution. Raising awareness is also important. Just as John Trapp had said, unity without verity is no better than conspiracy. Unity is the solution to almost every problem we have today, be it socio-political or environmental. A united front against ocean acidification will reap fruitful results. Supporting conservation efforts. The pre existing conservation groups today are efficient in their work. However, they lack the means to do it properly. They require our support to move forward with their goals. To support conservation efforts, we should try to not only join groups, but also influence government policy regarding ocean acidification by activities such as signing petitions and harmful silent protests. Being an eco consumer demands are the order of manufacturing. If we, as a class of customers, stop buying plastic products and reject porous products, we force industries to minimize the produce of products that increase ocean acidification. Although all these points are equally crucial, we can't ignore that reducing our carbon footprint does have a slight more important edge to it. Therefore, we have developed a video on how we can reduce the carbon footprint by becoming carbon neutral.
Please continue. Please continue.
Avneet, you can start the video.
Now, we over here have prepared a video on how we can become carbon neutral and reduce ocean acidification. caused by the oil.
Coming to industrial waste, how can we cut down on industrial waste? As my co-mate Avneet already said, there are two forms of industrial waste: chemical waste and oil spills. Chemical fertilizers damage bodies of water. We can decrease the adverse effect of chemical waste by not utilizing toxic fertilizers and instead opting for natural or organic fertilizers. When fossil fuels are burned for energy, residue is formed, which is then dumped into the ocean. To reduce this residue, we must reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and shift to alternate energy resources. Coming to oil spills, while navigating, the Coast Guard must be aware of where the tankers are permitted to travel. He should conduct more equipment inspections and use the method double hauling. Double hauling is a method where the watertight hull surface are used by two layers. This is to reduce the oil spills. And when transporting, the person should be as careful as possible. The government should undertake oil spill response training exercises on regular basis. Radioactive waste. Radiation from radioactive waste in salt water can harm ocean species in varieties of ways, including killing them outright, causing bizarre mutations in their progeny, and transferring radioactive material up the food chain. To avoid this from occurring, the most effective method is deep geological disposal. Rather than dumping radioactive waste into bodies of in water bodies, residual radioactive waste can be mixed with fresh uranium, plutonium, or any other radioactive element and fashioned into new fuel rods that can create power while lowering the radiological footprint. This method has been used in countries such as France, Japan, Germany, Belgium, and Russia. The filters in nuclear power plants that cleanse radionuclide contaminate water should be examined on regular basis to ensure that if they fail, contaminated water is not released into the ocean. When it comes to plastic garbage, the simplest method can be used to eliminate plastic waste. Reduce, recycle, and reuse are the most effective ways to eliminate plastic waste. In India, almost 80% of plastic garbage is recycled. Recycled plastic is utilized to make the plastic bags that are widely used across the country. To prevent plastic waste, the Indian government mandated the use of plastic in all road projects. Professor Rajgopalan Vasudevan, India's plastic man, created the technology for this. Plastic waste can also be eliminated by organizing a cleanup for the local organization or an international event such as International Coastal Cleanup. We can also avoid plastic waste by avoiding microbead containing products and instead of using plastic, use biodegradable items. The Ocean Cleanup has created the first scalable technology for capturing plastic in rivers before it reaches the oceans. As a part of an innovative scheme that is also cleaning the ocean, fishermen in Kerala are collecting ocean debris for recycling. The final hazard to marine life is lack of awareness. It primarily focuses on four major issues: conservation of marine life, our impact on the ocean, marine conservation challenges are top priorities. Coming to conservation of marine life and challenges to conserve marine life. So how does lack of understanding affect the conservation of marine life? Due to a lack of information about energy efficiency, we have been using appliances that increase carbon emission, which has resulted in rise in ocean acidification. Our obliviousness to negative consequences of excessive plastic use has resulted in rise in waste in the ocean. This has a negative impact on aquatic life. What are the problems that marine conservationists face? Predatory species are one of the most serious threats to marine life, but this serves to keep the food chain in check. When we tamper with the ecology, however, marine life suffers. The impact of human behavior on the ocean. The damage humans cause to the sea, which ranges from habitat degradation to overfishing, could not have happened otherwise. It is palpable that we are unaware of how often we destroy the ocean. Overfishing, habitat destruction, and the introduction of alien species, ocean pollution, ocean acidification, and ocean warming are all examples of our misdeeds towards the sea. Overpopulation, pollution, the use of fossil fuels, and deforestation are all contributing factors. Shark hunting, overfishing, insufficient protection, tourism, shipping, oil and gas, pollution, aquaculture, and climate change are all issues that need to be addressed.
Our priority towards the ocean. The ocean occupies an irreplaceable place in our lives. If we are not aware of it and do not give it the attention it deserves, we will be eliminating an entire sphere of life. As we progress and learn to be more attentive, we see how the rest of the world reacts to us. In this vein, the United Nations is organizing an Oceans Conference in Lisbon. It's a step closer to achieving SDG 14's goals. After this, the UN aims to work on leveraging interlinkages between Sustainable Development Goal 14 and other goals towards the implementation of the 2030 Agenda. From this, we can draw the conclusion of how if the world comes together to work on this, we will succeed. Some may question why knowledge towards this is consequential. Knowledge is a powerful tool. People can become knowledgeable advocates if they are educated about the critical challenges affecting our marine environments. They'll be able to help with conservation initiatives and speak out against the current climate of environmental protection rollbacks by contacting their political officials. People who are well informed feel a sense of ownership and can help disseminate it by the well known message, "It's your ocean, do something about it."
The unseen truth or reality. Most people are aware that our seas faces challenges, but many are unable to identify the most pressing ones. The ignorance provides an opportunity for businesses that benefit from exploiting nature. With millions of tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, and news items flashing through people's feeds every minute, it's difficult to separate fact from fantasy. After skimming through numerous posts, it may be difficult to determine which news outlets and news reports are trustworthy and credible. This is why we must come together to educate people about the bad effects of human on the oceans and seas, just like we're doing it through this talk show.
Thank you so much, Avneet and Tanvi. I think we all can agree that this was such an intellectually stimulating presentation. Truly, if we do not give oceans the attention it deserves, we will be eliminating an entire hemisphere of life. If the world comes together to work on this, we will succeed. Our next speaker, Palak Khanna, is a curious and cordial soul. She is an avid reader and writer, always eager to explore and learn, and has a keen interest in sports. I invite her to talk about small island developing states. Over to you, Palak.
A hearty good evening to one and all present here. I would like to start my presentation by extending my gratitude to IDYM and my school, Billabong High International, for making this conference possible. I sincerely appreciate this opportunity and I'm thankful for this exposure. The link between humans and the oceans has been fundamental to the development of human civilization. Today, more than 3 billion people live in close proximity to the coast. This number is bound to rise with population growth, urban drift, and increasing demand for accommodation close to oceans and seas. The high level of dependence on humans on marine assets is putting unprecedented pressure on marine ecosystems to service the ever increasing demand of the growing population. There is therefore an increasing need for regulation on the basis of an appropriate balance between the demand for oceans' natural resources and their sustainability. The SDG 14, that is life below water, mainly works towards the sustainability of marine ecosystems. The following presentation is mainly concerned with the small island developing states. Let us look at what SIDS are. Small island developing states include some of the world's smallest and most remote states in the world. They are a diverse group of countries, differing in terms of population, size, and density, geographical spread, and relative developmental progress. Yet, they share common challenges and vulnerabilities that prevent them from investing in resilient development and seriously hinder their growth prospects. These include high exposure to natural disasters and climate change, high exposure to global economic shocks, small or unstable domestic revenues, and limited borrowing opportunities. Now let us look at the list of states. There are a total of 38 UN members like Bahrain, Maldives, Haiti, Cuba, Singapore, Bahamas, Fiji, Barbados, among others, and 20 non-UN members or the associate members of regional commissions like the British Virgin Islands, the US Virgin Islands, Aruba, Puerto Rico, among others. The blue economy. The blue economy concept was first coined during the 2012 United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. It is an evolving concept that recognizes the need to maximize the enormous economic potential presented by the oceans while preserving it. It desires the improvement of human well-being and social equity while significantly reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities. Since 2012, many small island developing states have embraced the emerging concept of the blue economy as a mechanism for realizing sustainable growth centered on an ocean-based economy. For SIDS, the economic diversification and growth embedded in fundamental principles of environmental sustainability. A blue economy centered developmental approach, which sustainably utilizes ocean resources, has the potential to mitigate some of the inherent structural challenges of small states. SIDS that fully implement the blue economy concept have the twin potential of realizing economic developmental benefits that address economic structural challenges, while at the same time improving the environmental sustainability. Now let us look at the problems faced by SIDS. The healthy oceans and seas are essential to a more sustainable future for all. This is particularly true in case of the small island developing states. However, oceans are facing significant existential ecological risks that can negatively affect the social and economic prospects of all countries, particularly SIDS and the coastal states that are acutely dependent on oceans. Some of these risks are a rise in sea levels due to climate change, acidification of oceans resulting from increased emissions of carbon dioxide, overexploitation and poor management of marine resources, including fisheries, wastewater runoff, deposit of pollutants into waterways, and the compromise of the seabed as a consequence of mineral resource planning and extraction. Now, let us go through some of the major events that have taken place for the sustainable development of the small island states. The first event is the Barbados Plan of Action of 1994. The Barbados Plan of Action was adopted during the global conference held at Barbados in 1994 to ensure the sustainable development of SIDS. The Barbados Plan of Action defined the following 14 priorities: climate change and sea level rise, natural and environmental disasters, management of waste, coastal and marine resources, freshwater, energy, tourism, and biodiversity resources, national institutions and administrative capacity, regional institutions and technical cooperation, transport and communication, science and technology, and the human resource development. The second event is the Samoa Pathway. The third international conference on small island developing states was held from the 1st to the 4th of September in 2014 in Apia, Samoa. The overarching theme of the conference was the sustainable development of small island developing states through genuine and durable partnerships. The SIDS Accelerated Modalities of Action, or the Samoa Pathway, adopted at the conference, addressed priority areas for SIDS and calls for urgent actions and support for the SIDS efforts to achieve their sustainable development. The UNESCO's SIDS Action Plan was adopted in 2016 and it embraces the Samoa Pathway and contributes to its implementation on education, capacity building, technology, water and sanitation, biodiversity, climate change, sustainable energy, disaster risk reduction, oceans and seas, and the sustainable tourism. Now that we have understood the small island developing states and the sustainable development goals relating to it, let us look at a video that will provide us with a better insight in achieving SDGs in small island developing states.
The Joint SDG Fund is committed to strengthening resilience and ending the vulnerabilities of small island developing states. The multiplicity of socioeconomic and environmental vulnerabilities, in addition to the shocks caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, have been detrimental to the island nations. But SIDS are resilient. They are building forward better by developing innovative financing solutions to strengthen the protection of vulnerable groups and creating greener and bluer economies. Sustainable growth will require economic diversification and greater participation from a young, skillful workforce. And to lessen the effects of disasters, access to modern, innovative technologies led by digitization are critical. For economic growth and food production, healthy oceans are vital for the well-being of coastal communities by improving livelihood sectors of fisheries and ecotourism. To secure these smart investments, mobilizing partnerships with the private sector, civil society, and governments are fundamental to empowering small island developing states to succeed in reaching the Sustainable Development Goals.
This video concludes the focus of discussion today. I sincerely appreciate your time and attention. I would like to thank IDYM once again for providing me with this platform and for the opportunity to present my thoughts to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Palak, for such an intriguing presentation. I think that small island developing states was a relatively new topic for all of us, which made this presentation so interesting. Moving ahead to our last speaker of today's show, Arpana Lavanya, who is an altruistic and an avidly curious person, believing in inclusiveness to achieve group harmony. Her interests include reading books, illustration, learning about different cultures, and exploring the unlocked potential of the human mind through study and research. I would like to invite her for a presentation on sustainable tourism. Over to you, Arpana.
Thank you, Prisha, and good evening, everyone present here. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude towards Mr. Ravi Shankar Kumar, Ms. Deenal Asmi, and IDYM India for giving me an opportunity to express my views and create awareness about an important topic of SDG 14. Traveling and experiencing the world is undeniably a human need that one associates with unlocking greater fulfillment in life. While this might just be a recreational activity for many, it is also the source of livelihood for the locals of the visited destination. Tourism is the fourth largest industry in our fast-growing global economy and an important source of foreign exchange and employment while being closely linked to the social, economic, and environmental well-being of many countries, especially developing countries. The World Tourism Organization defines sustainable tourism as tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, along with addressing the needs of visitors, the industry, the environment, and host communities. In 2002, at the World Summit on Sustainable Development in Johannesburg, the launch of the Sustainable Tourism Eliminating Poverty Initiative, or the STEP, was announced. The initiative was inaugurated by the World Tourism Organization in collaboration with the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, or the UNCTAD, in order to develop sustainable tourism as a force for poverty elevation, including non-consumptive and ecotourism along with marine sustainability development, which is why this subtopic is very closely associated with Goal 14. Maritime or ocean-related tourism, as well as coastal tourism, are, for example, vital sectors in the Small Island Developing States, or the SIDS, and the Coastal Least Developed Countries, or the LDCs. The member states have also realized the need to support sustainable tourism activities and relevant capacity building that promote environmental awareness, conserve and protect the environment, respect wildlife, flora, biodiversity, ecosystems, and cultural diversity to improve the welfare and livelihoods of local communities by supporting their local economies along with the human and natural environment as a whole. This had been quoted in the Rio Plus 20 document, The Future We Want. The aim of sustainable tourism is to increase the benefits and to reduce the negative impacts caused by tourism for destinations. This can be achieved by, number one, protecting natural environments, wildlife, and natural resources when developing and managing tourism activities. Number two, creating socio-economic benefits for communities through employment and income earning opportunities. And number three, providing authentic tourist experiences that celebrate and conserve heritage and culture. We must bear in mind that the promotion of sustainable tourism will only be effective if it is promoted in accordance with the main objective of Goal 14, to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. The preservation and growth of endangered marine species can be achieved through the four main targets of this goal. Number one, by effectively regulating harvesting and ending overfishing, and ending illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and destructive fishing practices, along with implementing science-based management plans in order to restore fish stocks to the shortest time possible, at least to levels that can produce maximum sustainable yield as determined by their biological characteristics. Number two, by conserving at least 10% of coastal and marine areas consistent with national law and international law and based on the best scientific information available. Number three, by prohibiting certain forms of fishery subsidies which contribute to overcapacity and overfishing. Also by eliminating subsidies that contribute to illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and refrain from introducing new such subsidies. In addition to recognizing that appropriate, effective, special, and differential treatment for developing and least developed countries should be an integral part of the World Trade Organization fisheries subsidies negotiation. And number four, by increasing the economic benefits of small island developing states and least developed countries from the sustainable use of marine resources by the sustainable management of fisheries, aquaculture, and tourism. Let us look at an example that will give us better clarity at the impact of sustainable marine tourism on small island developing states. The iconic species of the great hammerhead shark is one of the most recognizable marine species that all of us must have seen in our textbooks at least once in our lifetime. But unfortunately, they are under threat and in some cases even critically endangered. The great hammerheads, besides being apex predators, play an essential role in coastal marine ecosystems by ensuring the diversity of species by preying on them along with keeping balance with their competitors. Commercial fishing and shark culling are the biggest threats posed to the great hammerheads. If the international marine laws, based upon the targets of SDG 14, are compulsorily implemented on the surrounding island states of Oceania, such as the island states of Nauru and Banaba, there is a high possibility that by the year 2030, or if we try to look at things more positively, in the next 5 years, the status of endangerment of the great hammerheads will be changed to least concern. Every single aspect of the biosphere that majorly includes our hydrosphere is what makes our planet distinct. The existence of living organisms is completely dependent on the conditions provided on our planet. As Sylvia Earle, a famous marine biologist, says, no water, no life, no blue, no green. A healthy ocean regulates climate change and reduces climate change impacts. The water cycle provides water for all life on Earth. You get what you give. What you put into things is what you get out of them. We are committed to caring for our seas and oceans for generations because just like our own lives, life below the surface matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arpana, for such a thought-provoking and fascinating presentation. Truly, you get what you give. What you put into things is what you get out of them. Just like our lives, life below the surface matters. I would like to invite Palak Tanna again to discuss and share a video of solutions on how to protect marine life. Over to you, Palak.
Palak is not audible, Palak. Share it again.
Yes, ma'am.
Palak is not audible.
Okay, ma'am. The solutions for SDG 14, life below water. Oceans provide key natural resources, including food, medicines, biofuels, and other products. They help with the breakdown and removal of waste and pollution, and their coastal ecosystem act as buffers to reduce damage from storms. Maintaining healthy oceans support climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts. Have you ever been to the seaside? It's a great place for tourism and recreation. Even more, marine protected areas contribute to poverty reduction by promoting small scale fisheries, improving health, and generating income. The marine environment is home to a stunning variety of beautiful creatures ranging from single celled organisms to the biggest animal ever to have lived on the earth. The blue whale. Sounds like a worthwhile thing to protect, right? For open oceans and deep sea areas, sustainability can be achieved only through increased international cooperation to protect vulnerable habitats. Establishing comprehensive, effective, and equitably managed systems of government protected areas should be pursued to conserve biodiversity and ensure a sustainable future, not only for the oceans, but also for the island nations surrounding. We should make ocean friendly choices, reduce our carbon footprint, and eliminate the plastic usage as much as possible. Most importantly, we should spread the message about how important marine life is and why we need to protect it. Thank you.
Thank you, Palak, for such an informative video. I'm sure that from now on, we will all be more conscious about our actions as they have impact. We will remember to be aware of our impact on the environment and make sustainable decisions. We know that when we are protecting our oceans, we are protecting our future. Thank you once again to all of our speakers. The floor is now open to the Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions or want to share their thoughts and opinions, please feel free to do so.
Yes, Prisha, we'll start with the presentation of the certificates.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am.
So to begin with, first of all, I would like to congratulate the IDYM team and all my
मैम
students for
स्लाइड शो प्रेजेंट कीजिए ना स्लाइड शो क्लिक ऑन द F5 button in your laptop. Okay ma'am, right.
So I would like to thank you, IDYM, for giving us this opportunity, students, to showcase their talent. So first of all, I would like to present a certificate to my student Arpana Lavanya. Congratulations, Arpana, for giving such a stimulating presentation. A big round of applause for Arpana. Moving ahead with our second speaker, Tanvi Shah. Thank you, Tanvi, for giving an intellectual precise presentation. A big round of applause for Tanvi Shah. Moving over to the third speaker, Avneet Anand. Avneet, thank you so much for this super presentation. Well presented, Avneet. A big round of applause for Avneet Anand. Moving over to the last speaker, Palak Tanna. Thank you, Palak, for presenting such a fascinating presentation. Keep it up. Now, the moderator. I'm thankful to you, Prisha, for sharing your valuable knowledge and your contribution for this talk show. And I thank you all the students who have participated today. I would like to quote that education is all about igniting young mind and enabling them to attain their fullest potential. And I think this is the work of a teacher, that how we can awake the curiosity among the young youth. So thank you once again, students, for being there and for all your contribution for today's talk show. So can we end the meeting?
Okay ma'am, please. We will do that.